What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to jump into the subject of bags versus coilovers. What should you go? When should you go it? What's better? What's worse? All that kind of stuff. So let's jump in and have a little chat about suspension. Alright, so let's touch on your suspension options. I'm going to touch on a little bit more than just coilovers and bags, and I'll tell you why in a sec. So 4 options are essentially lowered springs. We'll jump into that first, but lowered springs, then you've got coilovers, then you've got coilovers with air cups, and then you've got full bags. So let's start with lowered springs. Lowered springs is going to be your cheapest option. Not a bad option, it's really good. I've had it in cars, it's great. It lowers it a certain amount, you know, whatever it may be, whether you go lows, super lows, super lows, etc. When you start going to the super lows and so on, you also want to go with your shocks as well, because you can get lowered shocks. And that's when the budget side of things it doesn't leave the table, but obviously it's less budget because you're going to go and get springs and shocks all together. So you're going from, like, say, the $400 or $500 mark to more like the $800 or $900 mark, let's say. And for $800 or $900, add a couple more $100 and you can go to the next option, which is coilovers. Now, the pros, obviously, of the springs is just it's cheap and it's easy, pretty quick install, that kind of thing. Cons, you're not really going to get a lot of performance upgrade from it. It's going to be very, like, kind of factory, but just lowered. It'll be a little bit tighter, like around corners and stuff, but that may also be just like a butt dyno kind of thing. You've convinced yourself, like, when your car's louder, you feel like it's faster, but it's not. I don't know. You'd probably have to, like, do a full test with, like, a whole bunch of cars, whole bunch of drivers, all that kind of thing, to actually see if they're better for performance. But they are a nice budget option if you would like to just drop your car just a little bit. Now, jumping over to coilovers. Coilovers, amazing. Literally amazing. Will transform your car, like, just shockingly. They're a good price. You know, you're looking between, say, $1,500 to $2.5 grand, depending on how excessive you want to go, brands, features, etc. There's a lot of adjustability, height, camber, damper, like all that kind of stuff. So you know, they're a really good bang for buck option. Now, pros, obviously, all of that I just said, plus not too expensive, gonna handle like it's on rails, and you know, you can set it wherever you want. Cons, gonna be you're locked at whatever height you're at. So if you want your car to be slammed, you're gonna be slammed, which is cool, and it's gonna handle great, but you're gonna hate speed humps, you're gonna hate driveways, you might scrape your car, you might damage your body kit, your front lip, whatever it may be. That's kind of the con in this situation. Now, to wipe off a few of those cons, you've got air cups. Adds a con in because, obviously, a bit more expensive. You're looking, let's say, about $3.5 grand. I'm talking Aussie dollars here, so if you're not in Australia, transfer that to your own. You know, about $3.5 grand, $3 grand for coilovers and air cups, but it is amazing. You've got all the performance on coilovers, but also if you come up to a really high speed hump, or a speed hump just in general, or a big driveway, whatever it may be, press a button, you've lifted up. It's just like a front lift system on, like, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or whatever. This is just with air. Now, disclaimer, you are not supposed to drive on, like, aired up on these for a long period of time. They say no faster than 60 kilometers an hour, and they don't advise to drive on it because, one, it over pressurizes your spring, so it's gonna ride really bad, like really bouncy and like jolty and horrible. And two, it's just not designed for that, right? It's designed to press a button, get over something, press a button, back down, and you keep driving. So don't think that you're gonna be able to, like, slam your car to the floor and then air up onto these and have a cheap bag system. It doesn't work like that. Like, for example, the Supra, when I air up the back ones, I think it's because it actually brings the toe in, because the car comes up and the toe of the back tires or wheels come in a bit, and it actually, like, kind of bounces against itself, and it's horrible. I literally only use the rears if I've got a really like high speed hump or something that I have to get that extra height, otherwise I just lift the front up. So, but that is another good option. Then you go to full bags. Pros and cons of that. You got the pros, obviously, full adjustability, right? You can go from on the floor to way up in the air. You're never gonna have issues driving over things. If you're smart, you're never gonna break your body kit. You're never gonna scrape out on anything. You can do exactly what you want when you want, right? Cons, super expensive, right? You're looking like ballpark between 5 and 8 grand for a full system, right? Very expensive. And if you do pop a bag, which no, I'm not saying it's very common, but it is a thing because you've got bags. If you pop a bag, that side is going to be on the floor, right? It's going to be the lowest it can be. So my recommendation would be, if you're pulling out, say, stock suspension and putting in aftermarket bags, keep your stock struts. In a pinch, maybe you could get one of your friends to bring it out to you, drop out your suspension like that corner and drop in a new one. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh man, what are you going to do that on the side of the road? It's like 4 bolts and you can drop it out and drop a new one in, right? It's going to get you home, or it's going to get you onto a tow truck without damaging your car, something like that, okay? So that's kind of the pros and cons of that. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to preference and application, right? So preference, you just might want to be on bags. It's going to be more comfortable. So that, I guess that's another pro. It's going to be less comfortable on coilovers because they're stiffer, they're joltier. Yes, you can, ease up the dampening or tighten up the dampening if you're taking it on track, whatever. But even when they're like the softest they can be, they're not going to be as soft as bags, okay? So preference, that's all up to you. What I would recommend for application wise, if you are trying to do something on a budget and your car's just too high and you just want to drop it, that's where you go your lowered springs. If you want to go a lot lower than that, or you want to go with more performance, you're going on track sometimes, things like that, coilovers all day. Now, if you've got a dedicated track car, coilovers, catch you later. Don't even say anything else. Coilovers, amazing. It's going to be incredible. It's going to handle like crazy. It's going to be the best. If that's just your dedicated track car, you can dial it in, you can tune it in, everything like that. If you have a car that is a lot of the time track and sometimes a weekender, you can 100% coilovers, and then you can do the air cups. That's a good situation. Or like for me, the Supra, I'm never going to take that on track, but I want to keep the sportiness. I want to keep the, responsiveness. I want to keep that kind of thing in the suspension. So I haven't gone full bags. I could, because I don't need to have the best, handling. But for me personally, I just like to have my sports car still be sporty. Obviously, bags are going to be less sporty. Then you've got obviously the bags, which for application wise, I would say anyone that's never taking their car to track, or it's just a daily and you want it just to be gangster, right? You want it to be slammed on the floor when you want it to be practical so you can air it up and not damage your car, things like that. That's how I would kind of see it. Now, don't get me wrong, these are not hard and fast rules. If you have your R35 GTR on bags, you could still take that to track. Like, it's fine. You're gonna be able to go around track and have a bit of fun with it. Bags aren't what they used to be. They are far superior to what they used to be back in the day. But it's not going to be as sporty as it would have been just on coils or coils and cups, right? And the same with coils and cups. It could be your daily and you don't want to go full bags. You don't want to spend all that extra money. So if that's the scenario, it can work for you. Like I said, there is application, but there is also preference, which comes into account. So that's my 2 cents on it, guys. That's my 2 cents on all your 4 options. Obviously, cheapest to most expensive and all your different applications. But at the end of the day, it's what you want to do. So guys, I hope you have liked this video. If you have, and if you've taken some value out of it, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.